Welcome one and all to your introduction to Genshin lore. Because it's fucking complicated. We're traveling across a continent called Teyvat, a land where mortals are ruled by 7 gods with 7 elements. It's a medieval-esque fantasy world where some few humans are recognized by the gods and given a vision, which allows them to manipulate one of these elements. Vision holders are essentially demigods. But that's actually all I'm really interested in talking about regarding the magic system, because most of the important lore is actually in Teyvat's history. More than 4,000 years ago, gods walked the land alongside their people. There were 3 sister moons who looked over the realms, and the Seelie were a wise race who guided humanity. Then there was a great catastrophe. The moons died, the Seelie withered into wisps, there was also a world tree, but that's all complicated, so...
Don't think too much about it.
I have collections of research on all these deep lore topics on my fan site, so check out the links in the description, but this is an introduction, so suffice to say, shit happened. Sometime after the complicated shit, there was the Archon War. The gods who once took humans under their wing, or made them their slaves, went to war over 7 trinkets called gnosis. Owning a gnosis made you a god king of sorts. You held one of the celestial thrones, and various unrelated battles over them rocked the land for over a millennium. Eventually, the holders stabilized. Any gods who hadn't been killed agreed to either serve the Archons or fled across the sea to become evil gods. Thus began the Order of the Seven, a continent ruled by the Archons. Each of the 7 rule their own nation, and these nations developed independently for the next few thousand years, except for the Archons' shared resolution to guide humanity and some wine parties. However, over time, the gnosis changed hands, and in the present day, only 2 of the original 7 remain, with no promise that the replacements share that original benevolent intent. Except there was an 8th region, underground, beyond the gaze of the gods. This was Conria, founded by survivors of an ancient civilization that had been smited by Celestia. 500 years ago, Conria got smote too, during an event known as the Cataclysm. You'll find a lot of contradictory information about what exactly went down during the Cataclysm, and it's not the fault of the players. Where the Archon War and the world before is just one giant question mark of missing information, the Cataclysm is so mired in mystery and unreliable narrators that we may well be dealing with misinformation. We cannot really tell who started it or why or how, since everything we've been told has clear bias. It's still incredibly important to our main storyline, because the consequences of the Cataclysm shaped the political relationships we face today. So here's what we know. Abyssal monsters walked the land and wreaked havoc across the 7 nations. You could say it was basically hell on Earth. As of 2.1, we've been to Mondstadt, Liyue, and Inazuma, and each of them have their own story about how it affected them. The people of Conria were cursed to become abyssal monsters and hilitrils. Since Conria was ruled by the Eclipse dynasty, it's possible that the Eclipse tribe in Dodapa Gorge, with their own non-elemental magic, are the descendants of the royal family. Dainsleif, a royal guard, and Traveler's sibling traveled the world together right before the Cataclysm struck. Our sibling rushed to wake us, urging us to escape and leading directly into the beginning cutscene. Meanwhile, Dane was cursed to immortality, and has spent the time since kinda just festering bitterness and guilt. Also doing some mysterious important thing, but we have no idea what that complicated important thing is.
Don't think too much about it.
The god of the woods died. This was the original Dendro Archon, making his successor the most recent change to the Archon ranks.
The god of wisdom's enemy is wisdom itself, and the oasis of knowledge is a mirage in the desert of ignorance.
Feel free to question his loyalties, please, because his intrigue levels are off the charts. Dvalin and Durin, a wind dragon of Mondstadt and a dark dragon of the Abyss, fought above Dragonspine. Durin's carcass lays there to this day, and his abyssal blood revived the part of the world tree that had been destroyed by the Skyfrost nail. Our sibling became the Princess of the Abyss bent on tearing down Celestia for the injustice done onto Conria, and the Cryo-Archon, Saritsa, cut ties with all the other Archons and pledged herself to also taking down Celestia. Finally, A, the Electro Archon, cut ties with Celestia and attempted to get closer to the heavenly principles, as though those are separate things. This is already a long list of how the Cataclysm has shaped what we're dealing with today, and it's sure to grow as we visit the other regions. Which brings us back to present day. We awakened just in time for Tsaritsa and our sibling to start making moves in their goal to Celestia 500 years in the making. Tsaritsa has established Snezhnaya as a military state, headed by an elite force called the Harbingers. The Fatui exert diplomatic and military pressure on the other nations, and seek to control both the economy and technological prowess, so everyone thinks of them as skeevy, sus, and generally bad. Right now, the Harbingers are going around stealing the other Gnosis. Meanwhile, the Abyss Order has been controlling the Hilichurls to advance on human settlements, with various plots like coercing Dvalin to terrorize the people of Mondstadt, but their overall strategy is still unclear. The way it's originally presented to us, our goal is to seek out the Archons until we find the one that stole our sibling. However, we quickly learned that that's not the true mission facing us. Venti, Zhongli, and our sibling all tell us something to the effect of travel this world and discover the truth of it. And Scaramouche revealed as early as 1.1 that there's something wrong with the sky. So we're still visiting each region in search of the Archons, but now it's to understand our siblings' motivations, not to rescue them. I hope this clarified the broad strokes of what is going on in Genshin's fucking complicated lore. I glossed over a lot because, well, you search for a one-on-one, right? And it is so easy to slip into deep lore, so please share with your friends if you enjoyed, and I thank you for watching. Bye-bye.